Hi, everybody, and Happy New Year. I hope you've all been having a wonderful holiday season. This is my first video for 2025. And today we're going to be working on a very subtle technique, but using embossing folders and Stazon or any permanent ink that is permanent on a non-porous surface. So I'm not sure. Sometimes our archival ink will work. You'll still have to give it time to dry, but stays on because it is a solvent ink. So it has like I don't know if it's actually alcohol that's in there, but it has something that makes it dry really quickly. So yeah, so we're going to be trying that. So you can sort of see it on this card here. Basically, what we're going to be doing is highlighting the embossing folder. So here's another one where you can sort of see. So I've run this through the embossing folder and then used my Stazon to kind of highlight the texture. And here's another one as well. And these are all alcohol ink backgrounds. So if you get an alcohol ink background that you're not super happy with, this is a really great technique. I mean, it's a great technique with ones that you're happy with, but if you're not happy with it, here's how you can change up the look of it or turn it into something that you'd really like to be playing with, kind of thing. Okay, so I'm going to put these aside here. So obviously these are Christmas ones. We're not doing a Christmas one today. I am going to be doing so like a couple more anniversary or masculine type cards. Okay, so I'm going to put those aside and I'm going to pull out two alcohol ink panels. So the first one that I'm going to pull out is this one. So I did this on poster board. And so this is which has a shiny surface. So I might be even have done this in the one of my alcohol ink videos, but this is done on poster board, shiny side up. So this is a poster board that I get in 4 packs from Dollar Tree for $1.50. They're huge sheets, like 16 inches. So I cut them into 4 and this is what I get. So this gives me enough to do almost 2 full cards on it. But as you can see, I have some areas here where I missed. Okay. And I've kind of got this really interesting like striation coming here and some sort of a mark of some sort there. Don't know what that's from. And I missed some areas over here. So this isn't, I mean, they're beautiful colors, but it's not my favorite one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the opportunity to change it up a little bit so that I can get one that I am happier with anyways. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut this down because I'm going to be using a standard, my card base is going to be like an A2 size. I just haven't decided which color I want to go with. Like, so I'll show you the colors here and you guys can kind of decide. We'll see once I trim it down which one I like best with it. But that's going to be one of the card frames. So those are going to be an A2 size. Now, this thing measures in length. So it's 7 inches by uh, 5.5. So this gives me almost a full A2 size going this way, right? Like if I show you on my card panel here, or my card, this is fully goes across the whole card panel there, right? You can see that there. But this, when I go to cut it this way, doesn't give me 2. So I'm going to cut this down to, what am I going to cut this down to? Let's cut it down to 4 inches because I'm going to take an inch off or a quarter of an inch off. So I'm going to cut this down. And this is the area that I'm going to use. So I have this left over that I could do a die cut out of, like a sentiment or, well, yeah, pretty much a sentiment or a shape. Could also do like this is a compass here. So I could cut that out of that if I wanted to and use it on a different card, but I will. So I'm going to keep this part because I can still use that. Okay, and then I am going to take off another quarter of an inch here, just so that I get a nice border on my front. Okay, so I'm just going to put this down here. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be working with. And let's choose. So I think, okay, so that's quite nice on kind of the turquoisey teal. Uh, very nice on the purple. That's quite like the light lilac kind of color. And then this is, I don't know, maybe this is lilac and the other one is lavender. I don't know. But that's quite nice there too. I didn't really think because this is supposed to be a masculine card. So some of these colors are a little non-masculine, I guess. Maybe I have a light blue. Just hang on a second. I didn't even think about that. It's like, oh, this is supposed to be a masculine card. Let's see how it looks with the light blue. Maybe that'll work okay. Oh yeah, that'll actually be not too bad there. So I'm going to see how that's going to play out, but I'm going to keep these two and I'm going to put these two purple ones to the side. So that's usually how I decide. It's very subtle differences in these two colors, but this one is a little bit more turquoise versus this one's a little bit more sky bluish kind of color. And both will work just fine, but I'm going to see what it looks like once I've finished. So I'm just going to put these back in my stash of prepped uh, card bases. That's the word I'm looking for. Now I'm going to pull out a embossing folder. And the embossing folder that I'm going to use today is this one that has the waves on it. And I believe it's called Splish Splash by Spellbinders. So this one I actually do have I still have the packaging for it, which you guys all know is very strange for me. So I'm going to pull this, I'm going to open my embossing folder and a little bit of glitter from the last one I did in there. I'm going to open up my embossing folder and I'm going to lay this in and I want to regularly emboss this. So I'm going to take the waves and all of these curlicues and I'm going to push them up into the paper. So I want the side that pushes down is going to go in the regular way. So it's going to push down and all of the raised areas are going to push up. Okay. So I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. So use whatever sandwich you need to use for whatever kind of embossing folder you're using and your particular machine. So I'm going to be using a Gemini Junior, and this is a 3D uh, a 3D embossing folder. However, you'll notice here that it doesn't have any of the extra depth. See, this is look at the difference. This is one of my Simon Says Stamps 3D ones. Look at even with the cardstock in it. This is also 3D, but look at how thin it is. So I'm going to use, so for me to put it through my machine is going to take two regular size plates and just run it through. And I'm going to do it at a bit of an angle so I don't get the big ka-thunk as it went through, because it scared me when I ran it through the first time, because the two flat edges, when you're running anything through your embossing folder or your embossing machine, if it's got a flat edge, it's going to hit the rollers and make a big bang. And then also when it finishes, because it's going to hit another flat edge. So when it goes up, it goes bang, and then you roll along. And then when it jumps down, and when the roller pushes down at the end here, you're also going to get a big bang. So if those freak you out, change it up there, just as an FYI. That's what you're going to want to do. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put these to the side, and I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to turn it the right way around. Yeah, I'm going to put this back on top so I don't lose it and put it to the side. Okay, so now I did get a bit of cracking, and that's okay because the technique that I'm going to be doing will cover that up. That will actually just absorb some of the ink, but you can see the beautiful detail. Now look at how that has already transformed a panel that I wasn't super happy with. So I could, if I wanted to, now obviously that would shorten up our demo here quite a bit if I were to just call it quits at this part. I've seen an embossing folder, Crane. You can go ahead with that. Anyway, but look at how lovely that texture is behind that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. So that's one way already of camouflaging a possible alcohol ink print that you are not happy with. Now I'm going to show you another the actual technique from today, and I don't think that I did this. I may have, but I'm starting to lose track of what techniques I've taught you and which ones I haven't. There's been quite a few. So if this is a repeat, please bear with me. So I'm going to take some Stazon ink. This is Azure. Okay, and I'm just going to rub it along my panel like that. And I'm only doing this in a couple of places. You could do the whole thing depending on which color you like, but I do want to add on some of the darker colors. So you'll notice on a Stazon ink pad, which I think I covered in the inking 101 classes, but just in case I didn't, because this is a solvent ink pad, it dries out super quick. Whatever the compound is that's in here, the solvent, whatever's in here that makes it dry really quickly will make it dry out of the pad very quickly, which is why you have to put this little plastic cover back on, and you get quite the suction when you go to pull this off, right? So they've really made it quite airtight. So that's on purpose. Okay. So, so you can already see I've added a little bit of blue and now it's kind of highlighting again, bringing up some of the detail in what is a very busy background. So now I'm going to take this midnight blue color and I'm going to come around on the edges here. I drag it along. And I'm kind of going to cover up a little bit of what I already did. I want to drag it in and out of there. And actually, I kind of want to, I'm going to use my tweezers here so I don't get too much ink on myself here. I'm going to cover this again. So I'm just pulling in, and I'll show you here. I'll bring it up closer to the camera. So I'm going to close this up. So even though I'm continuing on with the colors, I still want to make sure that I'm putting my covers back on my pads as often as possible, because otherwise it gets contaminated. So now this is looking a little darker in this corner, but it's starting, again, you can start to see where it's highlighting and bringing up some of those waves. Okay. Now I'm going to take this teal color because we already have the teal in the back, and here's the extra cover. Bring in the teal color. Teal was one of the colors that was used in the background. Ready? Here we go. Put that out. Cover that up. And put my cover back on. Okay. Shift that out of the way and mop this up. So again, as I said, this is a permanent ink, and so it is very, it dries really quickly, and so you try not to get it on yourself. But look at what's now happened to our panel. Unfortunately, I don't have a before and after. Oh, yes, I do have a bit of a before and after. Okay, so this was the before. This is what I had before. Well, actually, let's do, this is what it was. This is what it was. This is what it is now. Look at the texture that we've got in there. Like, how beautiful is that? And I'm just going to give it a quick dry so that I can kind of complete the process here for you. Now this, like I said, this ink is very quick drying for something that is going to sit on a non-porous surface. I think that should be good. Yes. So I've got little bits of green in here, turquoise, teal, blue. You've got the purples from the background and now a dark navy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this up because it has gone through an embossing folder. So it's a little curled now. So I do want to, when you use a dimensional tape, like a double-sided foam tape, to pop it up a little bit, it also helps to pull out um, some of the waviness that you will get with watercolor or anything that's been run through an embossing folder, versus using something like a two-sided tape, which would be like a Sukwang or something like that, or your liquid adhesive will still, you'd have to have it put it under something flat in order to let it dry. So in order to not have to do that, I am just going to take some double-sided adhesive. Now my double-sided adhesive that I'm using is not very thick. It's only about maybe a millimeter, maybe 2 millimeters, millimeter and a half thick. It's not very thick, which is what I like about it because it makes it very easy to double up then. And I actually get it from the dollar store here in Canada, from Dollarama. It's photo mounting tape, which you might be able to find. But I get it for like $1.50 for this. Well, there was actually more on this roll. So about this much. I don't know, 10 yards. I don't even know. I'd have to look at the package to be able to tell you exactly how much is actually on the roll. But for $1.50, really can't beat that. It's pretty good price, I think, anyways. So, in my humble opinion, yeah, just gonna stick that there. And do 2 more pieces. And now here. Okay, so now that we have finished this part, now I'm going to actually decide which color I prefer this on. So, and I think I want to keep the dark area, keep the lighter up here on the left and the darker area down here on the bottom right. Here, I'll show you. So this would be the top, like that, or the bottom, like that. And I think I do prefer the heavier end down to the bottom. So this is on the lighter blue color, which is quite nice. So you just have a small border, or on the turquoisey green color. So both is quite nice, but truthfully, I do think that I prefer the turquoisey green. So let's put the baby blue away. Use it for another day. Huh. Okay, so let's see which way the card opens. Okay, we always want to check and make sure which way is your card open before you go and stick your panel down. Did you guys see the video before Christmas that I did that I had I think I had completed I think I'd done 3 or 4 cards before I filmed the video as the examples that I like to use in the beginning. And I had stuck them down, and I think I had stuck 2 out of the 4 cards were backwards. I call them left-handed cards. My left-handed friends don't find that funny. But yeah, so then I had to tear them off and start again. Always fun. Well, not start again, but I just cut off the front and then glue it to a new card. But it's an awful lot of waste of cardstock, that's for sure. All right, so now I'm gonna put this down and try and get it as straight as possible. But I am only going to be eyeballing it because, who needs to pull out rulers? Okay, so I've got quite a bit of a lip at the top there. So it's a little bit more of a lip than I want. So because of that, I'm going to bring in my handy dandy guillotine trimmer here, which is handy. And I'm just going to bring this down here and slice that off. There we go. Oh, a little bit off the edges too. Just a scotch. Come on, get under there. There we go. There we go. So if you ever don't get it on there quite right, or it's a little cockeyed, whatever, you can always bring out your trimmer, give it a little bit of a trim. Ta-da! Nobody will ever know. You guys will know because you're watching the video. But if this is the card that I do give to my husband for our anniversary, which is on Thursday, then he'll never know because he won't be watching this. So this is the die cut that I cut out to go onto here. So this is just the regular die that I did 2 layers of white and then 1 layer of black behind it. And I slightly offset it so that it would have a bit of a shadow just to give it a little bit more depth and dimension. And then I used a wink of Stella pen to add a little bit of shimmer to the sun. I'm going to say it's a sun probably, and then to the water that is underneath the boat. You can just see it there, right? Okay, so now this was my plan, was I was going to do this and then do like a happy anniversary, but I think this all on its own is just enough of a statement without going too overboard, right? Like, because I think especially now, if I had that maybe in black, that would be okay, but I don't think it'll stand off and off. Stand off and off. Yeah, I don't think it's going to stand out enough. And the holographic is a little bit too much, I think. So let me hold it up because I would put that up like that and probably do something to that extent. What do you guys think here? It's not bad. I mean, it's not bad, but it seems like a little bit much, which I know you're all shocked and amazed at for me saying, oh yeah, let's back it away a little bit. But because it's meant to be likely like a masculine card, I think I'm going to do that. And then just on the inside, probably stamp like a happy anniversary or something like that. So let's glue this down. And this can actually just be glued right down because there's already 3 levels of dimension on it. So I'm just going to take some liquid adhesive that's in my glue press here, which I am using the Barely Art glue, which I refilled because I used the Nouveau glue that came with this, it's an excellent glue. I just find it's a little thick for what I like to use. So the Barely Art is what I have utilized instead. And I want to make sure that I'm covering as much of this as possible. I'm not worried it will dry clear. So if I do have a little squidgy out, which I likely will, but I do want to make sure that I've got a really good, I want it to stick down pretty good. And now it looks like I've kind of got it a little off center here, and that's because I want the boat and the sun to kind of be the horizon, not the water. The water is a little off. So now, and so I put a lot of adhesive on the back of this so that it would adhere because there's all of these nooks and crannies underneath, right? So now I'm just going to put this to the side. Oops, sorry guys. And I'm going to cover that with a block and just let it sit on there for just a moment to adhere. Okay. So, but I do want to show you another one using a different color or two. Okay. Just so that you do get the idea. So the card panel that I chose is this beautiful red and orange and yellow colors. Now, these are not typically the colors that I like to use. So this is a very challenging one for me to use. So what I'm going to do is I've already trimmed it down because the card, the base that I decided to use is this beautiful Schoolhouse Red from Simon Says Stamp. It's a beautiful color of red. It's very nice for Christmas time, but look at how nicely that frames that. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. And I'm going to use a different one of my 3D embossing folders. And I think the one that I'm going to use, so I picked out two that I thought would be kind of good generic ones. Because you've seen the ones that I did the scenes on. So I did the like I did the trees. This one has the trees on it, so you can just kind of see the trees popping out of the background on that background. And then this one has the snowflakes that got highlighted in the wisps of, I guess that would be wind, like the snowstorm swirling, the wind swirlingness. Okay. And then I've done two with the waves. So that's what we've done so far. So now I want to pick out like a basic geometric shape. And I'm thinking because the die that I have cut out has so many circles, let's see, this is the die that I'm going to use, which I think is going to be beautiful. Like, so, okay, so already this is a panel that is challenging for me to use, right? But look at how gorgeous. It makes it look like a sunset behind that. Now, if I wanted, I could actually cut this out and just cut along the edges here and cut along here and just glue that down and just, and then stick this on a black panel or something like it, or a white panel. I could do that. But even this is beautiful and it helps tame down what could be considered a very busy background, right? So this is what I'm going to be using. And so this is 2 layers of white, 1 layer of black, and then I heat embossed, I stamped and heat embossed, Thinking of You Makes Me Smile, with Versamark. And then I used white embossing powder just to get that nice, crisp image there, which is lovely. Okay, so to put that on there, so I think I'm kind of liking, so this is really all of the circles. This one's called the Circle Rings by Simon Says Stamp. And I think that it's got too many, it's going to be circle on circle on circle. So I think I want to use the more geometric of this one, which is called Kaleidoscope. So that's the one that I'm going to use. And again, I'm going to put this in as if I was regularly embossing a regular piece of paper. So I want the parts to push up and down, regular. Okay, so I'm going to put that in here. Now, this is a very thick 3D embossing folder, as you can see. So I believe when I put this through on my my Gemini Junior, I use a base plate and then just the metal shim, actually, and that will give it a ton of pressure. Put it aside. See, did it give it enough pressure? And it did. So we had a little bit of cracking, but again, that's okay. So this one was actually done, I think, on Yupo because it feels quite plasticky compared to the cardstock of the poster board. So this one feels a little plasticky. So you can see the texture there. And it's actually through the dark red or the red and orange, it's much more noticeable. So it looks kind of cool. It looks like we only did it in that one spot, which I didn't. But even if I wasn't going to do the inking technique, look at how cool that looks over top of the texture. Okay, but I want to bring out this I want to bring out the texture of this. So I wonder if let's try. I'm going to try the midnight blue. I'm not sure what that's going to look like, especially because I'm using so much black, but I might want to have just a few, like a different color in there. But I don't really want to use the teal or the azure, because I think that's going to take it off too much, because I do want it to be somewhat darker. So I'm just adding this navy-ish color in a couple of areas, and then I'm going to come in with the black. We'll see if that'll actually even make a difference. It might even just make it look all black, which is fine. So before I go and do more on there, what does that look like? That's kind of cool too, right? So if I were only to do just a little bit of it to pop off just some of the background, very cool. Never done that. I'm an all or nothing kind of girl. Okay, so pull out the black. And I'm just going to go and catch, you're just basically catching the tops again. So you don't want to rub it deep in, because you don't want to cover up the color that's down below there. You're looking to just catch all of the raised details. Right, let's cover that up. While I'm just cleaning up my mat here, colors that I used today were jet black, midnight blue, teal blue, and azure, just in case, because I don't think I said all of the colors. So I'm just going to give this a quick dry. And again, I don't want to get too close with my heat it tool, because this is a plastic paper, so it will melt or warp anyways. And I don't want it to warp. I just want to air dry my ink. That's all I'm looking to do, just so that I'm not smooshing it all over myself. Okay, so hopefully, let's see here if that's dry. This is a dry baby wipe. Just yep, good, dry. So most of your inks will not dry that quickly on a non-porous surface. That's why it's so important that you use a Stazon ink. Okay, so now I am going to adhere this to my card base, and I think, yeah, I'm going to have the heavier area up at the top this time and the lighter area down at the bottom. Oh, and I'm actually not going to use that adhesive. I'm going to use my double-sided foam adhesive. Give it a little bit of dimension. So for those of you who have been following the organization challenge, I know I didn't post anything in December. I've still been working on cleaning and organizing, obviously, but I am going to have an update, or because I'm not done. It's a really, while you're a crafter, it's really a life. Organizing is really, I've come to realize, not come to realize, I kind of knew it, but I don't think I wanted to be honest with myself. Is a lifelong challenge, right? It's a as you're learning, as your crafting styles change, all of that is going to have to be not updated, but things will change in your how you like to store, how you like to utilize your supplies, all of those kind of things. So some of that, so keeping an open, not an open mind, but keeping a uh, fluid and not feeling like you can only get so far, or like, what's the point? It's always going to be messy or whatever. It's finding a way to have it be usable and you still be happy with what you've got. So that's still what I'm working on, and I will have an update. I'm hoping to get a little bit more done, but I'm still actually in the mode. I did a lot of crafting before Christmas, and everything, of course, before Christmas, because their gifts is, oh my God, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. So everything was pulled out. Nothing was put away. So yeah. So it's significantly more messy than the last time I showed it. So it's like, that kind of defeats the purpose. But there are a few things that I would really like to be able to, yeah, showcase and hopefully do like a craft room tour, and we'll kind of go from there. Fudge, I missed the top part there. Well, it's actually not that bad. Yeah, it's not that bad. Okay, so here we go. So I've stuck it down. Yeah, I might do a little bit of a trim off the top of there. Okay. Get in there. Go. There we go. Was a little too much, but oh well. There we go. Okay, so now here we've got, oh, I had some on the edges that I didn't dry. See, that's why you got to watch, because that's what happens with Stazon. See one here too. So if you do happen to get it on yourself, I mean, basically tomorrow when I wash my hair, this will come off. It's not a problem. That's not the end of the world. But if you do get it on your surface, things like that, I wouldn't recommend like desks. This is melamine. That'll likely be fairly permanent. But on my glass surface, or if you were using a craft mat or something like that, not a silicone one. If you're using Stazon on a silicone mat, I'm sorry, it's going to be there now. You're not going to be able to get that out. But on a glass mat or any kind of non-porous surface that you're using, you can use like a hand sanitizer or a little alcohol swab or something like that, or rubbing alcohol. It will take the Stazon off. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, as I said, this die cut, I've done, yeah, two in the white and then one in the black. And then I heat embossed in white the little sentiment. And I think this is really cute, right? Like, just look at that. Now, the other thing that I had a thought for, I could have done this. If I had done this with the happy anniversary in black instead of the iridescent, that would have been really lovely, right? But I didn't, so I'm not going to use it. I'll just stamp on the inside. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I will adhere this down now and stick it down. But look at how cute. That is going to be so nice. Okay, so just again, using my liquid adhesive, and give it a good, again, I want to get like a lot of the points, the whole exterior here. And I'm not too concerned, again, if it gets, if it squishes out. I'd rather it have too much glue than not enough, because the points of the embossing folder from the background, it's got so much texture, I need to make sure that it's going to adhere well. So I'd rather it have too much than too little in this case. And it will dry clear, so it's not going to be the end of the world. And there's so much texture and color on this, nobody's really going to notice. Okay. So I don't think, I kind of like it right dead center. See this how I'm probably not, I've already got a sentiment on there, so I'm probably not going to put another sentiment on. So I'm just going to go dead center here. And I'm going to switch up so that you can see. I'm going to put this underneath here so that it flattens it a little bit. I'm actually going to put another one on just to give it some extra weight. Yes, there we go. So now here's our card that we've made. Now, this is a light enough card that somebody could write on this. But what I like to do is I have some really not the best quality of paper. So I had ordered some, I might have told you guys this before, but I had ordered some, this one's pretty rough, but I had also ordered some, shoot, what's the brand name? Oh, poop. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I had ordered some paper and I got the wrong GSM, because when you're ordering cardstock, you need to pay attention to weight and GSM. So you want it to have a heavier weight, particularly if you're using it for your card bases. You want a good heavy weight. So you want it to be 110, 100, 110. But you also want a GSM of like 250, 300 is best. So we had ordered some cardstock, a bunch of us had ordered some cardstock, and we got what we thought was like 100 pound, but the GSM was only like 90. So it's like almost like copy paper, just slightly thicker than copy paper. So it's really great for running through your printer, but can't really use it for like a card front. It's too thin, so you can't really color with it because the all your inks go through it, and it's definitely too light to use for a card face. So what I like to do with them, particularly when I'm using colored card bases, is I like to take a piece, I've cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4, so A2 size minus a 1/4 inch all the way around, basically. And I take a little bit of adhesive, and I'm just going to put that inside. And now I have a nice white space for whomever is using this card, whether it's myself or if it's a card that I sell or I give away or whatever. But that's one card. And then I'll show you the same on this red one because this is done and we'll just kind of have a look. Now, because my intent is for these also to be masculine cards, I am not going to put any bling on these. I know, color yourself surprised, right? Other than the I use the Wink of Stella pen. Actually, I think it's close to my heart pen, but essentially the same thing. So it's a glitter pen. And we're just going to stick this in here. A little bit, a little bit. Let me catch it on the edges there. And there we go. So again, now I can stamp a sentiment in here if I need to, or I can handwrite something, or I can just leave it blank. And what I want to do, because I'm not adding any bling bling, like any jewels or anything like that, what I want to do, this is the close to my heart iridescent or glitter pen. I'm going to take and I want to color a little bit of glitter just here, darken up the fire a little bit. Okay, that. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see. It's a little wet, so you can just kind of see the little bit of glitter. And I think I'm going to do the clouds. They look pretty cool. One cloud, I'll do the little bird. Let's say they're cloud here. And then I think I'm going to do the chairs, because I think that would be really nice. This one. Yes. Now, the other thing that I could do if I wanted to add a little bit more texture, because again, adding texture is a really great way of adding like focal points, making your card look extra special, making your card look handmade, not Hallmark, is adding texture. Another great way to do that would be to add glossy accents. Okay. So let's see here. So here's, I'll hold this up. So this is what it looks like now. So we've still got the black. So we've got flat black. We've added some black around the edges, just on the to highlight the details there. If I wanted, I could go in and add some glossy accents. This is glossy accents here. And again, highlight maybe the chairs, maybe just the fire, kind of to make it pop. You could do the same thing here with the moon, or maybe with the sails. Make the sails, because it basically makes it look a bit like a sticker. So I'll show you here. See, so we've got a minute. Maybe I'll show you. Of course, it's jammed. So we can get that out of there. I always store my glossy accents upside down because it gets pretty good air bubbles in it, but it's a bit of a pain. However, what I will say is once you get it going, it is such a cool effect. Here we go. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Got a ginormous plug there. So I'm just going to draw this in. So you're not going to be able to see this dry, obviously, because this will take, if you're using glossy accents or crystal accents, or I don't know what the name of the one from Stampin' Up! And them is called. There's one called Diamond Glaze. Any of those kind of things. You're going to want to let them dry fully for 24 hours is your best bet. Another thing I could use on here would be like Nouveau drops. That would work as well. So all I'm doing is just taking the bottle, I'm just squeezing out a little bit, and then I'm using the nozzle to kind of move it around in the area that I want to have the dimension. And this is going to dry clear. It's kind of milky right now, but it will dry clear and it will give it kind of almost like a sticker or an epoxy resin feel to it. So it makes it feel like it's a, a really posh kind of handmade detail or embellishment or ephemera kind of thing. And if you get it in any spots that you didn't mean to, because I've got one here, I'm just going to put my lid on. What I like to do is I take my Cricut craft pick thing here, and I just go in and I draw a line and lift up the glossy accents and kind of push it back to where it's supposed to be, because it is a fluid, right? So I'm just going to pick it up. It's just because there's just too much there, so it kind of leaked out a little bit into what is supposed to be just white. There we go. Okay, so I will lift that up and see if you guys can see what you can see. So here's, yeah. So this, you're starting to see as it's getting clear up here at the top. So I'm going to have this kind of shiny sun. The water is going to have some sparkle and shine to it. And then the sails are all going to be this really beautiful kind of glossy epoxy finish. So I'm going to put that one up there so that I don't stick anything in it, because that would be what I would do normally. That is going to be our class for today. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. I'd be happy to answer what I can, or research if I can't answer it. But yeah, remember to keep it kind. And I hope that I will see you guys next time. And yeah, Happy New Year again. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.